Good morning, everyone. I hope you can all hear me. Hello?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So we're going to wait for a few more people to join so we can kick off the meeting because we are very few right now.
that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. Ooh, oh, you say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I'm strong when I think I'm weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe the only thing that matters now is everything you think of me. In you I find my worth, in you I find my identity. Ooh, oh, you say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I'm strong when I think I'm weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short. When I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. Oh, I believe. Taking all I have and now I'm laying it at your feet. You'll have every failure, God. You'll have every victory. Ooh, oh, you say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am falling short. When I don't belong, oh, you say I'm yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe, oh, I believe, yes, I believe what you say of me. I believe.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along difference to you. Don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go, bring me down. Can't none bring me down. Your love is too high. Bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, bring me down. Can't none bring me down. Your love is too high. Bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high, bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Come on.
I am guilty, ashamed of what I've done, what I've become. These hands are dirty. I dare not lift them up to the Holy One. You plead my cause, you right my wrongs, you break my chains, you overcome, you gave your life to give me mine. You say that I am free, how can it be? How can it be? I've been hiding, afraid I've let you down. Inside I doubt that you could love me, but in your eyes there's only grace now. You plead my cause, you right my wrongs, you break my chains, you overcome, you gave your life to give me mine. You say that I am free,
morning, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me. Okay. So we are going to be starting the meeting now. First of all, I want to introduce the host to you guys. She's Mrs. Faith Akintunde, the HR director of Kimberly Clark. I'm not sure, for those of us that might not know what Kimberly Clark does, I think the only products that I think that are available in Nigeria that they make Corex and Cotex, sorry, and Oggies. I don't know if you know Oggies diapers. So she's the HR director of in Kimberly Clark. For those of us that want to know more, you can go online and check them out. So she's going to be anchoring this topic, which is what should be the next step in our professional career, even as we conclude NYSC. I believe most of us here are those of us that are available here are we are all corp members, and this meeting is going to be very insightful for us. It's going to help us to know the next step we should take in our careers. It's going to leave out that uncertainty. I believe this meeting, because there's going to be opportunities for you people to ask questions. Questions are going to be welcome. So after our presentation, there will be enough time for us to ask questions after. So if there's any question you feel you need answered, anything that you that might have been bothering you about this whole next step in your career issue, you can ask questions. So I think those of us here we are going to start with those of us that are available here. It's kind of a shame that most people are not here. It's kind of disappointing, but at the same time, we can't keep waiting. So, Ma, if you don't mind, Ma, I think we should start now.
Okay, thank you very much, Bokumi, for this opportunity. I'd like to confirm, for those that are seeing my screen, what can you see? Can you see a double screen, or you can see one screen? What can you see?
I can see the window with the PowerPoint presentation and your camera.
Okay, so on your screen, you can see one slide. What does it say?
Starting your career by Faith Akintunde.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. I want to believe, okay?
Sorry, man. The PowerPoint presentation is showing the whole window, like it's not like in presentation mode. So.
Okay. So how about now?
Yes, it's doing that.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thank you very much. I want to believe that, thank you so much for I can see my tribe here. Thank you very much. It's interesting that the people that we are expecting to be audience in this room have not actually deemed it fit, or maybe not everyone anyway. But I just want to encourage those of us that are here, if you have a core member in your network, it would be great to share the link with them. There is a way you can invite people to join through the participants icon. It would ask you to copy invite link or copy invitation. You can just copy the invite link, right? And share with your maybe your corporate friend. It's always good to share. There's love in sharing. So share the link with them, ask them to join. It's not too late for them to join. Interestingly, I had a dream that we started this session at 10:40. I thought I slept off in my dream. I just jumped out of my sleep. You know, I know today is a holiday, and it might just be the best opportunity for us to add some value to our lives, right? The focus of this session, of this session is core members, right? But never mind, even if you're not a core member, I'm sure you can get one hint or the other. I've always been inspired to do something new in my career each time I prepare to run sessions like this. All right. I want to thank Timeless Edge people for this opportunity to use their Zoom room or Zoom meeting link. I really wanted to support this group of core members, and I had to reach out. I didn't have the Zoom paraphernalia to do this. I had to reach out to them to help us host this. So big thank you to them. And of course, it's a great privilege to be here today. Yeah, you mentioned Kimberly Clark. I work at Kimberly Clark as HR director, and we are the makers of Augie's diaper and Cortex sanitary towel for ladies. So if you're not using this, if your family members are not using it, they are using the wrong product. So from today, there should be some transformation in what you use for the children in your family. Great children, premium children, they use Augie's diaper. And of course, premium ladies use Cortex sanitary towel. Okay, I hope you have done those invitations to your friends, your core member friends, your younger ones that are maybe preparing to get into the world of work, or that are already there trying to find their feet, or you even want to jumpstart your career, right? So this is a great opportunity to do that. Like it said, we're going to ask questions at the end of this presentation. You can note your questions and you can put your questions in the chat room in case so that you don't forget. All right. It's great to be here this morning and I feel really pumped up to have this conversation, right? So how do you start your career? What's the thought line when you talk about starting your career? Okay, we will run through designing a winning CV, optimizing your LinkedIn profile, what recruiters are looking for in graduate and entry level. Then how do you scale graduate training recruitment? I'll share a few examples or instances. And then for those of us that have not so competitive grades, what can we do differently? And yeah, how do you win in the job market? I hope I'll be able to run this through as quick as possible. And I can see, I mean, I'm sure you can see so much that we have listed here. Each of this line item is a topic on its own, if you ask me. And for those of you that have read my books, I mean, you can tell that there's so much involved in each of this, but I'm going to find a way to sort of wrap them quickly so that you can get the much you can get. And you can see it's loaded. So it will be great for you to share with your network, share on your status, ask your friends to join. And let's see how much you can get out of this, right? Okay. So across the world today, I'm sure you can talk about the challenge of people that people face, right, in starting their career. People have dream jobs, they have difficulty to actually find their right footing in the places they prefer to work, right? Now, I mean, I'll probably start in your career essentially would contribute to how far you go in your career, how you rise, right? A lot of times, starting well would mean going far and going fast, right? So it is important to start right. Now, a lot of times also we find that successful professionals, they have shared secrets around how to grow in your career and what you should take and all of that. It also looks as if, oh, these actions are usually very straightforward. But by the time you finish in the room, sometimes you're even more confused than you started. But today, I want you to be assured that we're going to look at practical steps, things that you can easily adopt, things that you can do. And if you do find some of them difficult, you can reach out. I'm accessible on LinkedIn. We can talk, even though it's usually quite tough to catch up with those engagements these days. How do you design a winning CV? If you can adopt these 6 tips, right? at least it would take you some steps closer to where you're headed in your career. So for those of us that are core members, because I could see a couple of us that are not core members here, right? But those of us that are core members, and even if you're not core members, right, you want to take the next step in your career, you want to jumpstart your career, your CV has to be a winning CV. And how do you design a winning one? You've got to reduce the length. Some of us have 5 pages of CVs. You put everything from your primary school, the primary school you attended, the kindergarten, the secondary school. I'm not saying anything is wrong with that, but I'm saying sometimes it might be too much information. If you have completed university degree, which you have, right? I don't think your kindergarten, your primary school really does matter. In fact, sometimes your secondary school may not matter. But if you went to a school that was founded by Harvard or the Ivy League, right? Or I don't know, except that school is giving you a push, right, in your profile, then you can put it, right? And if it is not, and if it's not going to be excess, but if you ask me, I'd rather start with, okay, university that you went to, what course you did, and more details around what you did while in school. And sometimes I would say, oh, maybe this conversation might be a little bit late, right? You've done university. Some of you didn't volunteer while you were in school. But if you did, it's a great advantage. And if you did not, it might be a good time. So your CV should have details of the value you added while maybe you were, if for example, when you're in secondary school, you volunteered, you did some things that projected your leadership skill, yeah, you can pull that, right? You can pull that. Then the fact you're putting on your CV should be verifiable facts. They should not be fictitious. There shouldn't be information that cannot be verified. Yeah, sometimes you might put certain information that if it's required, if verification is required, you will provide details, right? So it's not like the details you're putting has to be end to end, that, oh, I worked in Kimberly Clark and I reported to Mr. Sebastian or so, for example. No, it doesn't have to, you don't have to name drop, but whatever information you're putting on CV, if anyone asks extra questions to verify them, they should be able to verify those information. And that simply means that you shouldn't lie on your CV. Now you need to align the structure of your CV in a certain manner that is presentable and is appealing to the eyes. Sometimes, even if it's a one pager, it should not be too lumped up. The size of the font, the spacing, right, has to be neat. You really have to spend time, sit down and work on that CV. Even if you outsource the design of your CV to people, when they help you to work on the content, you need to sit down with that CV again and sort of rearrange it in a way that is quite appealing to the eyes. The skills and competencies that you have should reflect on your CV. Someone will say, oh, what skills do I have? What competencies do I have? Just one thing that is sellable. And if you do not, right, in the next couple of months, you need to work on something. And I don't want to think that everybody, I mean, there's nobody that has a unique skill. You do have unique skills. Only if you could sit down and think through it and identify what makes you stand out. Or what is that thing that you can do to help people to move forward? Or what have you done that you have helped? Some of you are core members, you are ESCO in the core membership or in NYSC. You've helped people. I mean, some of you did actually set up this event today. It's a value you have added and you should highlight it. You can talk about people management skills. You can, I mean, you can talk about speaking skills for those of you that speak in front of audiences. You can talk about those of you that have IT skills, graphic designs. Those are skills that you can actually sell, even if it doesn't relate with the course you did in school, right? On your CV, you need to have a good email address. I'm an evangelist of this. I don't use unprofessional email addresses. On my book, in my book, I mentioned some very interesting examples of email addresses that can put recruiters off. If your email address is like pinky slicky or sneaky, you know, those kind of suggestive names, right? You might need to change them. Ideal email address would be your name and your surname, for example. And in case someone has taken it, you can add a figure, a number to it to make it unique to yourself, right? But as much as can be, use professional email addresses on your CV. Use addresses that are within the location of the organization you're applying to, which means, for example, if you want to use address, for example, for me, I don't use addresses on my CVs anymore. I just put my email address and Lagos, that I'm in Lagos, right? You know, things change over time. You might want to say Lagos, you might want to use an environment that's not far from the environment of the company you're applying to. As much as possible, you don't want to use your house address for security reasons anyways, right? Beyond all of this, have someone look at your CV. When you have done all you can, right? Have someone look at your CV and say, oh, if you were a recruiter, would my CV attract you? You yourself, try and read your CV in 1 minute. Can you read your CV in 1 minute? Can you scan through your CV in 1 minute and make sense of it, right? These are ways you can confirm if your CV is winning or otherwise. I've been generous to share what my CV looks like, right? This is my like maybe 2020 version of my CV, right? And these are real content. In some ways, I've altered some details to for security reasons. Of course, if you look for me in this address, you won't find me, right? Your phone number is important on your CV in case recruiters are trying to reach you. Your email address is critical. If you want to put your home address, maybe not so direct details. Again, because for security reasons these days, times are becoming very interesting. So you want to be careful how you put your address on your CV, right? But it's important that you create an impressive profile about yourself. That is not a lie. So you have to spend time to think about what you are bringing to the world of work and how the world of work should view you, okay? Those of us that don't have professional experience, then this CV might not do you so much good, right? But in case you have worked with any organization, including your father's company, including your uncle's company, right? Whatever you did for them, you should be able to put it out there on your CV. And that's why for everyone that has served, that has done NYSC, you have a whole year to account for. And I really wish if your ESCOs, your colleagues are here, this kind of conversation are conversations that should be held in the month 1 of NYSC, so that you can really position yourself and be more intentional about your service year. It's not going to be a year of or just serving the government. Yes, you're serving the government, but you're going to be very intentional about it, because that 1 year could be what you would push you out in your next phase, right? So your school, very important. The certifications that you have gotten, very key. In case you haven't gotten any certifications and you have some other ones in view, right? You started something, you should put it there. In the days where we served, right? NIM, Nigerian Institute of Management, they were all over the place encouraging us to get management certifications. I did it, and that was one of those things that actually put me forward in my management proficiency, right? The things I learned there, they were quite useful. They were not just to get the certificate and pay some money, but the knowledge was quite useful. So those kind of stuff that come during NYSC, you could use them. You could use them, put them on your CV, and just make sure that there is a value that you are projecting from there. Now look at the skills and competencies segment. This is a very solid segment that you can project the kind of skills you have. You can go online to read about skills. I have some learning sessions I've done in the past. You can check my website. There's some learnings there. And check my Facebook page. There's some learning interventions that I've done there about skills. You can check my YouTube page as well. There are a lot of videos that you can learn or that you can watch, right, around skills and competencies and what you can sort of the skills you can develop to project yourself as a professional. Let's really talk about LinkedIn optimization, right? Your LinkedIn is like your online passport, right? It is like your I call it a free advert platform where you can showcase your brand. You don't have to pay. For those of you that are not paying, that are not on premium, a lot of people there don't use premium and they're getting great jobs on LinkedIn. So if you are not on LinkedIn today, you are wrong. Or if you're on LinkedIn as a scarecrow, you know what scarecrow is? A similitude of a human being that is not a human being. If it's just your name and your school that you have on LinkedIn, you're like a scarecrow, right? So please go to your LinkedIn and update it, optimize it. If it is not rated all-star, you have not updated your CV, you have not optimized it. So optimization would mean at the end of the day, you have put in as much details as possible that are not junks, that are truth, and LinkedIn has rated your profile all-star. How that happens is very easy. LinkedIn is quite easy to use. You have to just be patient. You have to carefully sit down and start from your name to what describes you to what skills you have. I mean, LinkedIn has all of that, and you can carefully just go through it until you are all-star rated. I also have LinkedIn optimization learning sessions I've done in the past. I'm sure you can find them on YouTube. Find anywhere you can find my presence on YouTube, on Facebook, right? And on my website. I'm sure that those details will be shared towards the end of this presentation. Remember again that LinkedIn is your free professional adverts page for your own brand. Now, a couple of things people do with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is that page where you can show your profile background, your profile URL, the link that shows your profile. There's a way you can even shorten it and rename it to your name, right? You should put in employment information from your, right from what you did before NYSC to what you did in NYSC, your skills and competencies and certifications, all of that are on LinkedIn, right? And one very important part are relevant articles. I'm sure there is one or two knowledge that you have that you can share, right? You can write articles for those of you that can write. And if you cannot write, of course, not everyone that would write, right? If you cannot write, are there articles that other people are written that resonate with your what you stand for professionally? You could share them, of course, with permission. You could share them. What that does is to project you as a serious-minded person that also has a thought process or a school of thoughts, right? Now, very importantly, you need professional recommendations, especially for those of you that have served, the places where you have served, right? You can reach out to people that you worked with to give you professional recommendation. When I started using LinkedIn, in 2014, if that's correct. I don't remember again. Okay, no, it's over 10 years I've been using LinkedIn. So it should be maybe like 2007 thereabout or so. About 2 or 3 years after school thereabout, I just started working, and the people I could reach out to were my schoolmates. We went to OAU together. So you will find at least one recommendation on my profile that was given with the perspective of what the kind of person I was in school. So my colleague, it was not even my classmate, but we knew each other in school, and I reached out for a recommendation. It could say something about me. So you could reach out to people that you went to school together and ask for a recommendation from them. Reach out to your prof or your lecturer, those of you that you were quite visible in class. Reach out to them for recommendation. Then reach out to the people you served with for recommendation, people that you worked with that could talk about your work attitude, your approach to work. You need those kind of recommendation to boost your profile. Okay, now here, we're just going to be talking about, just hold on, please, 1 minute. In writing your achievements on both your LinkedIn or your CV, you need to be able to write in a way that is measurable, right? You want to write in a way that is measurable. So it's not that I worked in LinkedIn I served in LinkedIn for 9 months. What is an achievement? It's not an achievement. Or that I was buying puff for my supervisor. I know a couple of us core members were sent on some of those funny, interesting errands. While I was working in one of those companies in one of my previous lives, I told the couple that was working with me, I said, see, people will send you on errands and it is not a problem. Just make sure that while you're going on those errands, you are also putting your eyes to the work, you're asking questions, you're working like a professional. In Nigeria, it's interesting how some of us use interns. A couple of write-ups have gone out there on LinkedIn on how professionals use interns and core members. But you would have to own your career when you are serving, making sure that while you are doing all those interesting menial errands, running those errands, you are also adding value to the company so that you can account for those values as what you have added as your own contribution. At the end of the day, that is what you would account for as your achievement. Right. So for example, you're saying over the past 5 years, I successfully completed 6 projects from start to finish, generating a total of $600,000 in revenue. Of course, maybe that's not for your level, but there must be some project that some of you have engaged in. I know 1 or 2 of you that have engaged in maybe website designs, for example. This is an example of a project. And if you worked with a team on it, you can say that, oh, I was a significant part of a team that delivered the website design project for the company where I worked, right? You can name the company and say, oh, we completed this in the space of 7 weeks versus a timeline of 12 weeks. You see, so you have shown that you can work very hard. You can work with a team as a team member. And because you're part of that team, the team was able to deliver that project earlier than expected timeline. You see, talking about another instance, right? This might not be about revenue. It might also be by increase in annual revenue of a company. That's why wherever you work, you should not just be a part of a team. You should know what is going on in that company. You should be interested in what is going on in that company. If the company grew while you were there, who says you are not one of the reasons why the company grew? You should be able to tell what value you added to the company and how it resulted into the growth of the company. I saw your comment, Toyi. Premium people, don't worry. Okay, now these are just instances of how to write your achievement on LinkedIn. Okay, is someone talking to us? If you're not talking to us, please mute. Okay, so for example, look at this other person that could write this way. You source qualified candidates utilizing various web technologies, social media, resume databases, and referral from networking events while reducing the hiring cost by 35%. This is more like an HR thing, right? But you can also be a salesperson, right? And you can tell how many leads you were able to generate for your company. So essentially, in writing achievement, those achievements have got to be specific. They've got to be measurable. People should be able to quantify what you did. Now, a lot of times, what we do, the work we're doing, might not be quantifiable. Like a receptionist would say, "Oh, what exactly am I doing that I want to write numbers to?" But let's say you're a receptionist. You can tell that on a daily basis, you attend to an average of maybe 10 walk-in clients. That's a number, right? And everyone that walked in, you could say that you recorded 90% satisfaction. If you satisfied 9 people out of 10 people that came into the company every day, that's about 90% satisfaction on a daily basis. And if you count it 5 times a week that you worked, that's times 5. That's about 50 people, right? And that's roughly 90% again, right? So you have to be able to think of the work you do and add numbers or put numbers to the value you are adding to the company. Someone will say, "Oh, I'm only answering calls. I'm just working at a call center." The number of calls you are taking is there. The number of minutes that you have engaged with customers, all those numbers are there. There's hardly a thing you're doing that if you look closely is not measurable, right? So you really have to look at the number dimension of the work you do or what you have done while you were serving and put a number to it. And that's why, again, I would have really loved that this kind of conversation takes place at the beginning of your NYSC, for example. You know, this guy is trending. I don't know if he's still trending, right? But look what he said about talent. He said you do have talent naturally, right? But skill is only developed by hours and hours and hours of beating on your craft. Of course, it's not about emotional intelligence. Like a lot of us know what, I mean, the hard boss he had at that event, right? But that's not the focus. The main focus here is how you beat your craft, how you work so hard, right, to build your talent. Excellent. Thank you, Toyin. Service quality can actually be measured as well. The quality of service. I agree, right? That's what you're saying. Yeah, I agree. So you really have to make out time to beat your craft, to work on your skill, right? Talent can come naturally, but you have to work on that talent to build a skill or to build a competence, right? Right from when I was in uni, right? A couple of persons would tell me, "Oh, you have TV voice." It's like, I don't even know what TV voice is. How did they know that I was even struggling with public speaking, right? Over time, I had to throw myself into speaking so that I could beat my craft. Someone can now say, "Oh, Faith is talented." Biko, I don't know if I'm talented, but yes, I could tell hours and hours of speaking or even stuttering while I'm speaking, right? But it takes a lot of work, a lot of effort to beat your craft in such a way that it would shine, right? Right. So what can we do? What are recruiters looking for? What are they looking for in graduates and entry-level professionals? If you don't know, there are recruiters in this room. There are heads of HR in this room, right? Some of my colleagues are in this room, and you really can't tell. Anything can happen. So just be at alert, right? What are recruiters looking for? And I speak from the point of view as a hiring manager, as a recruiter in the past. What are they looking for in young or fresh graduates? We're looking for your ability to communicate and connect with people, networking. You've served, you went to different states. I mean, some of you you did school in Lagos. Some of you don't even have a parent in Lagos, for example. You're posted to Lagos, right? You've met a lot of people in your city days. You've met a lot of core members, but how much of that relationship did you take advantage of in terms of maximizing, not negatively taking advantage? Okay, right? So your communication skills, networking, your ability to reach out to people. We're in this room now, we're about 20 of us, for instance. Do you see people you can connect with in the room? People that you have not met before? Or even people that you're in the same WhatsApp group, right? The NYSC WhatsApp group. How many of those people have you connected with in the space of this 9 or 10 months that you are together? Some of you had the opportunity to project your leadership and management skill while you are serving. This you need to put forward, right? Your self-management skill, your ability to manage your time. Some of you watch movies to midnight, and then the next morning you are not optimal. Self-management. How are you able to do that? How are you able to manage your time, manage your emotions, manage your difficult experiences to bring out the best? I was in an interview sometime in the past, and I asked the lady that, what makes you stand out? You know what she told me? She said, it's our self-discipline that makes her stand out. And that's why I should hire her. And I asked her to give me an instance. She told me she was a certain kg. She was very fat in a couple of months back. And then she disciplined herself and lost weight. She showed me the pictures in an interview. What do you think I would do? I would hire the lady, right? Because there must have been a reflection of how she's able to manage herself, how she's able to control herself and set out a goal and achieve it. Think about it, weight loss, for example. I mean, how mundane, quote and unquote, can that be? But that was the example she brought to the table. And that made sense to me. In another instance, this was not my interview, it was reported. I know the person that went into that interview, and what he sold to the interviewer was the fact that he had sold insurance before. You know how insurance companies, how insurance products are very, very difficult to sell. And this person was looking for a sales job, and he got the job with a very solid bank. The experience he was able to put to the table was insurance brokerage. And that time it was just a contract staff or maybe an agent, maybe not even direct contract staff. So every day, every experience you had has an opportunity to project the skills that recruiters are looking for. Only if you are able to package them properly and project it either on your CV or on your LinkedIn profile. Problem solving, how do you solve problems around you, right? What knowledge of the industry that you're targeting, what knowledge of it do you have? What knowledge of their products do you have? Looking forward going ahead in this same conversation, you need to clearly define your skill goal. What kind of skill? Just for example, when you have identified what recruiters are looking for, those skills were identified earlier in the previous slide. Those ones you don't have. How do you develop those skills? You must look at one skill at a time. For example, while I was working on my speaking skills, it took me a while, it took me time, but I identified the fact that I want to work on my speaking skills. I had to read materials for it. I had to practice. I had to take on every opportunity that presented itself for me to speak. And that has helped me. I'm not at my peak yet. I have bosses, I have seniors in this speaking matter, but I'm not where I used to be. And that's the same thing for you. You should identify the skills you want to work on and put in efforts. Of course, you can find mentors to help you. You can design the kind of strategy you want to use. For me, it was reading materials. It was putting myself forward. It was speaking, right? A lot of times I would speak on my own, I would open Facebook, for example, and speak to an unknown audience, right? That is how you hone your skill. HONE, honing your skill. You should practice. You should take every platform you have, every opportunity you have, and of course, periodically assess yourself. Assess yourself. Ask people to assess you, and that will really help. How do you scale through graduate training recruitment? These are the things, these are the opportunities you're going to be looking forward to right now. When you finish NYSC, you will find a lot of companies advertising graduate training, graduate management scheme, banks, FMCGs, right? Big companies, medium-sized company, small scale companies, they are all out there looking for graduates. What do? You need to research the job and the company, find out what the company does, and how can your skill, you might not have so much experience, but whatever little experience you have, how can it add value to that company? But essentially, in direct training recruitment schemes, a lot of times it is your class of degree, the course you study, that is usually the first things that would be their requirements. So sometimes they will say social sciences or sciences and engineering, but there is hardly a faculty that is left out, right? Maybe a few courses like I wouldn't want to mention so that you don't feel discouraged, but if you do have good class of degree, some of those skills that they're looking for, yes, you can apply. But again, in case you do not have those courses they are looking for, and that does not mean there's no hope. It's not every graduate training scheme that you would make it through. For example, for me, I went through one. I went through a graduate training scheme, but I didn't scale through. I didn't scale through. I made it to the finals. I did the exams, but I didn't even pass the exam. Right. Some of us didn't even go through graduate training scheme. How are you going to get into the world of work? We'll have that conversation. But those people that qualify for graduate training scheme, it's important that your LinkedIn is accessible. It's important that your CV is great. It's important that you find out about the company and then practice. A lot of us, you've got to make GMATs, those assessment centers, those entrance, those examinations, right? Make them your friend. You need to practice them. You need to practice them so that you can prepare for their tests, their assessments, and all that. I know I did a session sometimes ago. I don't know which of my pages it is, how to prepare for the graduate training scheme itself, how to prepare for those interviews and the assessment center. Right. If you can find any of those ones online, I'm sure you'll be able to take advantage of it. Make sure that at the stage of negotiation for graduate training is not really such a big deal. Just know, for those of you maybe that were retained by your current company where you're working, the moment you apply for graduate training scheme, don't go and resign. You don't have a job until you have accepted an offer. That's very important, and that a resumption date has been agreed. So in discussing the terms of your offer, when you have made it through a graduate training scheme, for example, a lot of times there's not so much negotiation at that stage because it's entry level. The company will offer you what is offered to their entry level employees. But negotiation is important if you are moving from one employment to another employment. We've done some graduate training recruitment scheme before where we're hiring people that are even working with other companies, as long as they have 0 to 2 years experience. And at that point, those people that are working in other companies, they would have to negotiate so that whatever offer we're giving them is actually more favorable than where they're coming from. Okay. So for those of us that have low grades, this is a very important conversation. Maybe you have a 2-2 is not competitive in the graduate training market, in the job market, or you have a third class, it's not competitive. is that time where you should look into both certification or volunteering or the skills you have gathered between then while you were in school and when you have served, that is till now. Those skills, it is important to now begin to project them. The truth is you are not likely to make it through a graduate training scheme. Graduate training scheme is not for you. Only a few companies would request for 2-2. They wouldn't even request for a third class. That's not to make you feel bad, but is it's to prepare you to plunge into the world of market, into the world of work, into the job market with the experience that you have garnered while you were serving or before you were serving. A lot of you is most likely maybe one thing or the other that you were doing that took your attention away from the degree you're pursuing. That thing has got to speak now. And in case it was a total mess and there was no experience, you have to be willing to volunteer now. You have to be willing to learn and go through internship or apprenticeship. You would have to work a bit extra hard to show your competency. You would have to learn through the rough patches and project yourself as a hardworking person. Right. In that case, what employers would look for in someone like you would be experience, and then you have to find a way to get it. I was talking to a parent sometimes ago. She was quite worried about her kid. And what I told her was, see, at this level, what your kid need is to get the skills that companies are looking for. The Googles and the Facebooks of this world, they're not looking for 2-1 or 2-2 or third class. They're looking for your programming skills, your UI UX skills, your maybe graphic design, I don't know. They're looking for skills that speaks to what they do. They're not looking for a class of degree. So you've got to look for the kind of skills that is sellable in the market that would not require your class of degree to sell. Some of you would need to go and do a diploma, postgraduate diploma, right? And make sure you do it and do it well, put all your heart into it so that that can help you to sell better in the market, depending on the area you're going to. And truth is, not everyone is cut out for the career world. I mean, coming from an HR professional, maybe it's not expected, but that's the truth. It's not everyone that is cut out for this old program ways of recruitment, getting your CVs ready and all of that. Some of you would even have to start your own companies by yourself. Some of you would put partnerships together and put a service out there. So this conversation might not be 100% for you if you are that person that is called out for entrepreneurship, but you've got to get your hands dirty and get the job done. All right. Now that you're in the job market, how do you win? What's next? What's next? We've spoken about your LinkedIn profile. You've got to build your LinkedIn profile. You've got to be intentional about it and stay focused. Some of you in 2 months, you will get a job. Some of you in 1 week, you get a job. Some of you where you serve, they are retaining you. If they propose to retain you, don't be proud. If you don't have an option, you can start from there. If the company has very toxic work culture, you have to be careful the choices you make. But if you do not have an option, it could be a place to start if you have strong emotional intelligence to manage those difficult environments. If not, you have to be courageous to go and find a way to start. Flaunt your strength. Again, resilience is not a common competence, if you would say. You really need resilience in this era that we are in. It's no longer like the days of our fathers, where from school they are getting job offers. Some politician was saying that he had about 3 or 4 offers while he was still in school. How many people can boast of that now? Today, you've got to find your way or navigate your way through this world of work or this job market. But you have to stay on the radar. You have to connect with people that are recruiting. Those of you that are on LinkedIn, connect with recruiters. Be friends with them. reach out to them and find ways to support some of these people, even if they're not recruiters, hiring managers or professionals that look like people you want to become. You can tag along with them, find some level of mentorship with them. And someone reached out to me not quite long ago. I was saying, oh, how can I help you? How can I support you in some of these outreaches you're doing? I know that person is looking out for something, but I wouldn't push them away because they are offering to help. So those are ways you can actually connect with people that would be of support to you. Look for sponsors. And of course, build positive relationship with both your peers, those of you that serve together, the people that you went to school with. Some of them get job quick. Will get a job quicker than you will. Don't leave that network because, oh, these ones I've gotten job, I haven't gotten. Get connected with those ones. They can even be your access to the world of work. My first job, right? No, not my first. My second job was, I was recommended for that job by a schoolmate of mine. We went to uni together, and he knew there was a vacancy there, and he reached out to me. So please connect, build relationships, and be friends with your schoolmates, your fellow corporals, and all of that. Yeah, time for questions. Time for questions. Time for questions. Okay, so let's start. Okay, gifts. Okay, you say that, oh, thank you, Josephine. Thank you so much. Thank you. I mean, very generous comment here. So gifts, you're saying at the end of this session, would there be an opportunity to review like 2 LinkedIn profile and CV? Wow, that would be a lot of work. That would be a lot of work, right? What time is it now? Let's see if we can make it go at 1. If we can make it go at 1, that would be great, right? Yeah, that's a good thought gift. We can make it go at 1. That's a bold ask. That must have been a bold moment for you. Okay. Right. So learning a lot from this. But can I ask? I checked your LinkedIn. I see you have 40K followers. How did you build this? What are the tricks? Okay. Honestly, wow. Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you so much for listening through. Thank you. Right, honestly, 40K followers, I don't know. I'm not lying. I don't know how this, I don't know any of those tricks that people would build and post and say, oh, let's generate more followers. Follow me, I follow you. I don't know about it. But I could tell you that I've had my LinkedIn profile for more than 10 years. I started my LinkedIn profile, I think in my our second year of work experience. I have about 14, right? So it should be like, my LinkedIn profile should be like 10 or 12 years, right? And I've actively connected with people. Sometimes in my life, I was sharing with an audience and I was saying, I think in my book, I wrote this in my book, that you don't have to select. I know someone that told me that, oh, I select people I connect with and all of that. Interesting. I don't select in that sense. I reach out to people that are ahead of me. I reach out to my peers to connect. I reach out to people that are behind me, if you would choose to say. Why? Because the people that you think are behind you, tomorrow they might be ahead of you. I had one particular example, a very lovely lady. She was in one of those HR networks I founded. And at some point she was like an assistant manager in recruitment. She was a hiring manager. I'm sorry, she was a recruiter, but she was an assistant manager. So she would reach out, we would chat at some point. You know, if you are a proud person, you will look down on such a person. But I connected with her. We just connected. Once in a while, we just chat up. Suddenly, this person became a lead recruiter in a global organization. If I mention the name, you would know. So think about that instance. Imagine that, oh, I said, oh, this one, she's not ahead. I don't have to look up to this person. And then that person's profile just switches and she becomes a big girl or a big woman. The moment that person becomes a big woman, he or she might want to choose who and who they connect with. But I have connected already. I have great people in my network, very quality people in my network, not because I saw them ahead, but I connected with them when they were not even that popular. And that's how you build network, not only on LinkedIn. That's how you build relationships. You build relationship with people with genuine intention, not because of the position they hold, right? By the time you invest in those relationships, by the time they become great people, they would not see you from the point of view of someone that is just coming along. You are now friends. A couple of my friends are now big people in big organizations today, but we still throw banters, right? But those other people that are not my friends or that were not that connected, when they have become big, it's difficult to just connect with them, right? So how you build your LinkedIn network is just about reaching out, connect with as many um, as many as can be, right? Let's look at the CV quickly. I'm not sure there's any other question, and then we will wrap it up from there. Let's see. So we have gift CV here. Can you see my screen? Can anybody see my screen? You're still seeing the question, right?
Yes, it's still the PowerPoint presentation.
It's a PowerPoint. Okay, so let me quickly have a look at gift CV. Now, you know what has happened? Gift has sent me a CV, and his CV is online. Look at that. I like that. That's very interesting. So I didn't have to download the CV. I just had to click a link and I could look through a CV. I love this. Okay, you're quite experienced. You're not a copper, are you? I think, I mean, there are senior HR people in this room. And if we look at the CV, the big thing I could see from this CV is the fact that you do have up to 3 years experience, right? And you have certain skills. You're able to write in certain languages. You have the Python, you can use Python, you can use JavaScript, right? So interesting. You have 11.9K active followers on Twitter. Interesting. So what are you going to be looking out for? You are a data scientist. You do have social media and content management experience from what I see here. Great. Okay, so maybe what I could add, right? What I could add, the companies where you did this. So I could see the locations, the locations of these organizations, right? You might just want to write simply what those organizations do and what you did for them. So here you said you are a CDB analytics, you're working directly with the head of data, right? Where you use data to help teams and coaches looking to utilize stats and data to improve their scouting game. You've done this since September 2021 up to present. If I look at this, I'll be asking myself, what did you achieve in the space of, let's say, 9 months that you have worked with them? Not up to 9 months, we're in April. So let's say about 5 or 6 months, thereabout, 7 months, I don't know, right? What did you achieve? You need to put forward your achievement here. It's not too early anymore. I mean, you spent like 6 months in that organization. You should be able to account for 1 or 2 achievements that you had with this company, right? CDB Analytics is a company, I believe. You want to maybe highlight the name of the company differently so that the recruiter can easily see what your job is separately from the name of the company. It should stand out. And then you can write maybe a line sentence about the company, what the company is about, and then maybe 1 or 2 bullet points about your achievements in the company, right? So like you saw, look at this now, what you have with G Culture as a technical writer. You said you wrote a 16-minute article with over 3,200 words, 2,200 views, right? So this is quite measurable. I could see Amazing. This is great. So if I want to hire you as a content writer, I can tell that you would give me quality content, and it will be a great addition to my team, right? Again, okay, so I could say you're a writer, and then here you're a data scientist, right? But in your profile, you're talking about your experience, and then you are saying you are working as a community manager, a developer educator, a technical writer, and a data scientist. You are too many things in one, a lot of things wrapped in one. You should be able to project one or two things that you're looking out for. So for example, if you want to put your CV forward as a technical writer, you would project your profile. Your first two sentences will be speaking to your technical writing skills and what successes you are recorded. And then the rest of the sentences can speak to what else you are about. Okay? So that you're not confusing the recruiters. You have a lot of experiences. And another impression that comes to mind here is that you have worked with too many organizations in the space of 3 years. It might be difficult to retain you if you're looking for a more permanent relationship with an employer, right? So you might need to be finding a way to, work on that as you progress in your career in the future. Yeah, your CV is quite interesting. Looks like it's a 2-page CV, right? And this is great. I think this is great. But I'm not able to see your school. Where did you school? If your school is not an advantage, or your class of degree is not an advantage, then this CV is perfect. But if your school is an advantage and your class of degree has a point to score for you, then you should put it. If not, fine. I usually get the message. When I see this kind of CV, I'll say, oh, okay, most likely the school is not a big deal, or what they studied in school is not quite related to what they're putting forward, and it shouldn't be a problem. I should be able to hire you for the skill you're putting forward, and that's fine. Okay, I hope I was able to help. I hope I was able to help. All right. Any other question? Oh, he's a copper. Amazing. Big clap for you. I am clapping for you. Well done. Well done, Gifts. Well done. And I'm so sure projecting your CV today, your other fellow members can tell, how inspired they would be, or that they are having a look at your CV. You have a good thing going for you already. So just start building on it. Reduce your short-term intervals. So most likely these things you did are maybe project, or you're still working with this company. So I could say a couple of them that you're still working with. The ones you're still working with, you can put them at the top. The one you worked in March 2022, you can put them below. Of course, I can see the timing, but the ones that are still very recent, you put them forward, and you have to sort of repackage this to look so it doesn't look like you wouldn't stay in one organization if you're hired. But then you can actually be a freelancer and you're making your money, and then you're building your profile along the way. Eventually, I see someone like you being a service provider for this kind of skills and competencies that you have. Well done, Gift. And I hope, I do wish you all the best in your career in the future. This session is recorded and is going to be available, I believe. The people that hosted us are going to be generous enough to share the link as much as you can. We'll put it on YouTube, and maybe you'll be able to refer to it or listen to it from there. Well, here's a thank you from me to your ESCO, the NYSC for Lagos, the ESCOs, the LGI. This is my thank you to them, and thank you to all of you that showed up today. And I hope when this is posted on YouTube, you'll be able to share the link for other people to listen to. And in a way, you can check my website. On that same website, you would be able to find access to my book, 360-Degree Career, which you can read. And the book is like a body. It can guide you through your career journey, right from while you're looking for a job to when you do get the job and have to manage in the organization. Wow, Joseph, it's good to see you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, and do have a lovely day. Have a lovely holiday. Thank you. You're
Thank you
welcome.
very much, Ma, for this session. I believe that a lot of us have learned so much from this. Um, Nobody knows everything at this point. There's a lot we don't know, and this has helped us to shed a lot of light on the things that we should be doing at this point. Um, I want to mention that Mrs. Faith Akindele has a book which is called 360-degree Career. I personally have read the book. I'm not done with the book actually, but so far I was able to pick up so much from the book, and a lot of those things that she mentioned in the book are the things that she has picked out to highlight for us today. So I thank her for that, because the book is not free. So that the fact that she's sharing some of these things with us for free is a privilege. And I would advise anyone that really wants to learn more. You feel like you're not satisfied with the knowledge that you have gotten here today. You still have some questions in your mind, or you just want to have something to refer back to. I would advise us to reach out to get the book. I believe all of us have my contact on the group. You can just tag me and ask me for how you can get the book later. Okay, the link has been sent here. So thank you very much, man. Once again, thank you, Timeless Edge, for giving us this platform. And I hope we all learned a lot today. And
I've
thank
actually
you
read the
very
book.
much for. Okay,
Sorry.
okay, okay.
My name is Grace, and I have read the book, and it has actually helped me. It has improved me on my job delivery, in my current place of employment. I'm also a serving corper in Lagos, and indeed, in fact, while serving, my boss had to increase my salary just because
Wow.
he thinks the value I bring in. And so I would just encourage everybody to please get the book, like you rightly said.
Wow. I
Thank you
wouldn't
for
know
that
that Grace is
testimony.
a core member. Interesting. Wow.
Okay. For everyone that attended this meeting today, thank you very much for turning up. It's the fact that there's a lot of us that didn't come for this, that didn't attend this meeting. It's kind of disappointing, as I said earlier. But then again, I believe that those of us that have experienced this have learned something, and that is very fine for me, because the main purpose of this is just to impact as much people as I can. And if those that are that make themselves available are the ones that really want to learn more, that's fine. And the like you said earlier, the meeting is being recorded, so everything that we have discussed here is still going to be available for others. So thank you very much, everyone. I hope we all have enjoyed the rest of our day. Do you have any other thing you want to say to us before we leave?